You might not have thought about this, and I didn't think about this for a long time, but I think it makes total sense that the only real conservationists are conservatives. That sounds like a strange thing, doesn't it? Because we're used to this idea that conservatives, are right-wing people. They believe only in money and in finance, and they're not interested with things like the environment. And then the left-wing people, they care about people. They care about the environment. They care about all these sorts of things. Eventually, once you learn more about this, you realize that the left-wing people actually don't care about very much, other than in furthering their own ideology and in bringing forth a utopia that can never exist. And that the right has actually been misdescribed. When people think about conservatives, they generally think about people who only care about money. Really, they're talking about libertarians or even parts of the left wing. What I'm talking about is the conservative, this rare breed of people, the real conservatives, who are actually interested in conserving things, i.e. conservation. That's funny, isn't it? Conservationist, someone who wants to conserve the environment. There's a natural crossover between a conservationist, an environmental conservationist, and a conservative. Both are interested in maintaining that which is good about the world. Both of them, if they are truly conservatives and truly conservationists, want to maintain the good things that were given to us by our ancestors, the things which were handed to us. And part of that is certainly the environment. So I think a real conservative will be an environmentalist, but he might not be an environmentalist in the way that you would expect. Odds are he doesn't like things like wind turbines and solar panels, because he realizes that these aren't proper solutions to the problem. The reason that solar panels and wind turbines are not proper solutions to the problem of the environmental problem is because they solve the problem in an abstract way, potentially, whilst destroying the environment in the real sense, in the local sense. The problem with these things is that no one who has to live with them likes them. Let's say you want to save the environment and you go to, we're talking about the renewable energy problem, aren't we? We want to stop using fossil fuels. Okay, fine. We go to a community and we say, look, would you like to help us save the environment? And they say, yeah, we'd love to help you save the environment. We love this place. Look at it, the hills, the trees, the hedgerows, the rivers, the lakes. We love all of this. How can we help? And you say, well, that's great. You have a wonderful place here, and I'm glad that you'd like to save the environment. So what you can do is you can let us build several wind turbines around here. We'll have one on that hill, we'll have one over there. We'll probably cover those fields just over there in solar panels, if that would be okay. And then once we've done that, we should have saved the environment. And they look at you in total confusion, thinking this has got to be some kind of strange joke. He wants us to save the environment by destroying everything that we love about it. He's got to be mad. And yet he isn't. This is actually his idea of saving the environment. The stupidity of the left-wing environmentalism is that it totally removes any incentive for anyone who has to suffer the consequences to be interested in their idea. When you remove the reason for someone to protect the environment, you remove his motive to be interested in your idea. If you cover the land in solar panels and you cover the land in wind turbines, these disgusting, horrible things which just destroy our experience of the environment, then you remove our motivation to help you. And so the people who oppose these things are called NIMBYs, aren't they? Not in my backyarders, which is a strange term. It's just a term of derision, isn't it? Basically what it's saying is, we all agree that this is the solution, but you don't want to be a part of it because you don't want to suffer the consequences of it in your backyard. We look down on people like that. But who are the people who call others NIMBYs? They're generally politicians and journalists and upper middle class people who don't have to suffer the consequences. And this is a common theme in politics. We have politicians introducing policies which have consequences, but consequences that they do not have to experience. And then they look down on the common person for complaining about them, and they call them NIMBYs. This has got to be one of the most condescending and arrogant things that a politician can ever do. And yet, so many people have been converted into this idea of calling others NIMBYs. And it's a strange objection, really, because what it is, it's an objection to someone else's objection. You know, I say, I don't want solar panels and wind turbines in my backyard. No, I don't. They look horrible. And then so you say, oh, you don't want them? You don't want them in your backyard? Why not? Because they look horrible. And then you just continue saying, well, you shouldn't have a problem with them. And you just say, well, I do have a problem with them. And it just goes back and forth like this. It's a very strange complaint to have about someone, which is literally just, this person shouldn't have this complaint because they should like it. That's it. You know, it's just condescending. So what happens in the end is the people who want to introduce their idea get tired of having to put up with the moans and groans of the common people who actually have to put up with the consequences. And so they introduce state laws which enforce their ideas. They get some kind of grant, some kind of legal permission to build the disgusting wind turbines and the solar farms in the places that no one wants them to be. And that's what happens. They basically become tyrants. They say, you don't like it? Well, tough. We'll do it anyway, because this is the solution that we want. This, of course, is a bad idea, not just because tyranny is bad per se, but it's a stupid idea. It's a short-sighted idea because it turns people against your own objectives, like I was saying at the start. True conservationists are conservatives because they realise the importance of home, this term that Sir Roger Scruton talked about, which is that we all need to feel at home. And if we don't feel at home, then we start to abuse the place which could have been our home. The reason the streets of the United Kingdom are covered with graffiti and litter is because we don't feel at home in these places. We don't like the modern architecture. We don't walk out onto the street and see a place that we'd want to call home. It's full of ugly skyscrapers and concrete. We've forgotten the old way of building beautiful buildings that we could be proud of. We're tearing up our countryside by covering it in solar panels and wind turbines. No one wants to live in these places anymore. And so it doesn't feel like home. So our incentive to protect these places is being diminished. Who wants to be an environmentalist when the incentive to protect that environment has been taken away? That's why the left-wing approach to environmentalism is, one, short-sighted and stupid, but two, it's not really environmentalism anyway. Because all it's about really, at the end of the day, as most left-wing things are, is power. It's about tyranny, power, authority. It's not about lifting up the common man, as they claim to do. They claim to love things, they claim to care about things, but time and time again what they do is they enforce things that people don't want. They impose their laws on others, they impose their ideas on others, and they force them to put up with it anyway because they think they know best. And do they? Well, I suppose we'll see.